Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I will be reading What If Naruto Was in Marvel World. I'll put the link to the original author's work in the description. Now let's begin. Chapter 1, Prologue. In a new world, the ruins of Zushigaku. Well, I guess this is it, huh? Naruto said with a set voice. We know it's gotta happen someday. It's just a matter of when. Kurama said. Standing in the ruins of the home of his ancestors, Naruto stood in front of a gate with its doors covered in writing. He wore a dark orange jacket over a black long-sleeve shirt. He also wore a modified black ambi pants with multiple pockets and a pair of brown boots. His long bright blonde hair is covered by the hood of his jacket. After the defeat of Kaguya Otsutsuki, a short period of peace has been observed in the elemental nations. Countries and hidden villages alike are working hand in hand to recover from the disasters caused by the Fourth Great Shinobi War. But of course, it wouldn't last long. Everybody knew it. It only takes a single spark of human greed and hate to reverse all the progress achieved. Nobody knew better how fickle human nature is than Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. The last heir of the Sneju and Uzumaki clan from his mother's side, Kushino Uzumaki, and the last heir of the Namikaze clan and member of the Uchiha clan from his father's side, the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze. As a kid, Naruto has always been the target of hate by the citizens of Konoha due to his unique circumstances. He was chosen as the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi by his own father after it escaped from its previous vessel, his mother. Naruto was raised ignorant from his own heritage by the order of the Sendaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Naruto became the target of scorn and hatred of the ignorant masses due to him being the prison of the Kyuubi. Only recently has this outlook been changed due to his role in the Fourth Shinobi War and the defeat of Kaguya Otsutsuki. Tired of the cycle of hatred, Naruto trained hard to overcome the challenges that the path to peace would face. He became the foremost master of Finjutsu, acquired the ultimate Dojutsu, Rinitsu Sharingan, or simply called Sharingan, became the first full sage, and acquired the Tokugaku's famed Kenjutsu, the Jingu, all after the war. He also set out to allow himself to become the Jinchuriki of the Nine Biju. Shikaku, Metatobi, Isobu, Sumgoku, Koku, Satan, Chmei, Geiki, and Kurama. This would ensure that the power of the Biju wouldn't be abused by any hidden village and would allow some form of freedom to the Biju due to his modified Death God seal that allows partial autonomy of the Biju inside the seal. An unforeseen side effect of all the power he acquired was that he became essentially immortal. An overreaction to his predicament, he decided to leave the world he has known and live a relatively normal life in another world. He dedicated his knowledge of Finjutsu and near limitless amount of Kekra at his disposal, he created a bridge to another world. Packing up everything he would need and saying one last goodbye to the only world he has known, the 21-year-old Naruto, the hero of the elemental nations, left the world in a flash of light so bright it rivaled the sun, without so much as a goodbye to his friends and families. Central Park, New York, USA, 2005. That is the worst narration ever. Naruto shouted with a fervor, shut up. If it's bad for you, how about for us in here? Chmei replied with equal enthusiasm. I guess it's a success since we're not dead, Yuki added with mirth. Kit, we need to get out of here. We may have attracted some unwanted attention with our exit, Kurama advised. Yeah. I'm going. Sheesh, Naruto said, applying suppression seals on his nape to cover his Kekra signature. He left the scene in as much speed and stealth he could muster without Kekra enhancements. Hiding in the shadows of the trees around him, he noticed their passing structures in the forest. On second thought, it's not a forest but a large park. Who the hell makes a park the size of Konoha? Naruto thought to himself. It took 10 seconds for him to reach the clearing of the park. Still hiding from the shadows, Naruto took notice of the world he landed on. What he saw awed and surprised him. Buildings higher than the Hokage monument everywhere, carriages running without horses or ox, bright lights that reach for the sky, and people, lots and lots of people. All were looking towards where he came from. Holy shit, Isobu drawled out. Imagine climbing one of those. Sumgoku blurted out. You're really just big monkey, aren't you? Kakuo teased. We need a base of operations while we figure out how this world works. Satan said. Yeah. Let me try something. I feel we are still not far enough from where we came. Naruto said. Getting Hirishinkana from his pocket, he threw hard at a 45-degree angle to maximize distance and to miss any buildings in its immediate path. When he felt the kunai stopped, he asked Kurama, any people near where that kunai landed? None from what I can tell. Kurama replied. Okay, here goes nothing. With a flash of light. Chapter 2, Blinding Light. The Triskelion, Washington, D.C., March 28, 2005, 2115 H local. An unassuming man is moving quickly down the corridor to report to his boss. Tension can clearly be seen even if he is feigning a calm exterior. Everyone can see it, causing them to move aside to let him through. He's a Caucasian wearing tailored suit and black leather shoes. He has dark brown hair and a receding hairline. He is Agent Phil Coulson, the right-hand man of the Director of the Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division of S.H.I.E.L.D. An expert in information gathering, stealth, and diplomacy, he has already seen more things than people would believe and can keep his calm through even some of the most chaotic of scenarios. It is generally considered an easygoing individual with a grave sense of humor. To find him reacting this way would mean an entirely unprecedented event occurred. Reaching his destination, he knocked twice and entered the office. He saw his boss pacing back and forth behind his desk while talking on the phone. "Yes, Mr. President. We already have a quick response team on site with a secondary team en route." Yes, sir. We'll send an update when able. Goodbye, sir." Facing Coulson is an intimidating bald African-American man. It is wearing an all-black combat attire covered by a black leather trench coat. Another notable characteristic is a black eye patch covering his left eye, covering a large scar running across it. "What the hell happened, Coulson?" "I had to find out in 083 event from POTUS. Good thing we had people close by who at least had the brains to check it out and take control of the situation. Now I'm going to ask with all the calm that I can muster, what the fuck is going on?" the man known as Nick Fury asked, finally ending his tirade. Nicholas Fury, or simply known as Nick Fury, is the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. is formed to protect the world from things they are not ready to know, and at its head is the quintessential spy. If one thinks of spies, it is what usually forms in your head. He's an expert on deep infiltration, espionage, and assassination. He had toppled governments, assassinated world leaders. Basically, he changed the world. There isn't much known about him, and that's the way he likes it. Handing over a tablet that contains the information on the event, Coulson answered the tirade like a professional. On 2030 hours, an energy surge was recorded on the north side of Central Park. Our sensors didn't record the event since the energy surge is what would be considered harmless. The event just released the energy as purely visible light, which is really strange. Accidental recording of the event, which is already circling social media, showed that the light emitted exceeds the brightness of the sun. A large number of people who were accidentally looking at the direction as it happened are already checking into hospitals due to visual issues. The teams on site are already cordoning off the area with the help of local law enforcement. Our New York branch techs are just 3 minutes away. While looking at the tablet, Fury's formulating a plan of attack and running multiple scenarios in his head. With a plan formed, he ordered Coulson, "I want you on a flight to New York with our tech with all the toys you can bring. Take another 10 agents for investigation and bring Barton with you. He can see things others don't." "Commercial or private?" Coulson asked. A hardened stare is an answer he received. "Right, the Quinjet it is. I'll just get going, then, sir. I'll send Romanoff as your relief team as soon as she gets back from California." Coulson nodded and walked out of the office, readying himself for another mission. The Triskelion, Washington, D.C., March 28, 2005, 2145 H local. Agent Clint Barton is in a meeting room waiting to be briefed about an urgent mission he'd just been informed about. He is already on his way to the dormitories after his daily workout and conditioning when he has been called back through his phone. He really would like to complain about his working hours if only he had one. Being a high-level S.H.I.E.L.D. agent meant that he had irregular hours and can be called at any time. He already changed into his standard sleeveless S.H.I.E.L.D. combat uniform. His trusty weapon in a carry case beneath the table. Some would describe Agent Barton serious guy on a mission but easygoing and reliable off of it. He is also considered a special kind of prodigy. He has a recorded eyesight of 25ths, near perfect recall, and an outstanding eye-to-hand coordination. A master marksman in most conventional weaponry by 18 and a gifted infiltrator specializing in assassination and bodyguard missions. What makes people consider him a little weird is his choice of weaponry, which is the bow and arrow. S.H.I.E.L.D. tech has upgraded his choice of weapon to allow him to deal with many situations with just a change of the arrow tip that can be remotely changed. Looking around the room, he counted 20 people in the room, excluding himself. Based on his observations, 10 of them are definitely field agents, and the other 10 are techs. This looks like big odd with this many. Field agents, but why in the hell do we need this many techs? Barton thought to himself. Technicians or techs are their scientists. They usually stay in the labs, but certain circumstances may need them. He tapped the shoulder of the field agent in front of him and asked, "Got any idea what all this is about?" No, sir. I have just been called from leave. I haven't even started yet." Sir." The agent answered in a nervous tone when he recognized who was asking him. Not receiving any information, he spied a tech looking in his phone. He walked over to the tech at the other side of the room. Barton asked, "You have any news about the op?" "I may have some idea, Agent Barton." The tech answered. All the people in the room are now focused on the conversation. "Well," Agent Barton urged the tech to continue. Yes, browsing at his phone. At approximately 8:30 this evening, a bright flashlight was observed at Central Park, showing the video playing on his phone to the audience in the room. Since our sensors didn't record any spike either in infrared, UV, radiation, or otherwise, the only explanation left is that the event is just like a large flashlight, only just a few stops brighter than the sun. We are currently unable to form any hypothesis about the event. Well, that's basically the gist of what I'm gonna say. A new voice was heard from the doorway. Everybody swung their heads to who it is. "Hey, Phil. You're the one who called us in?" Barton asked. Coulson walked over to the podium and said, "No. Orders came from Fury himself with urging from the president." "Wow. So this is a big deal, huh? When are we going to go?" "In half an hour. I want everyone to pack for at least a week. Bring all the sensors, machines, or doodads that you may need, and you might think unavailable of the New York field office. We're going to take a quick to our hotel and start tomorrow morning," Coulson ordered. "You heard him. Let's go." Barton urged the people in the room when no one stood up. The people in the room started to file out quickly to prepare for travel. "How bad is it?" Barton asked Coulson with a touch of worry in his voice. "Not as bad as you might think." Coulson significantly calmed down from his earlier state. "It is considered a 083 event. It just caused minor panic to the populace. You know New York, if it doesn't affect them, they don't care. The president is just concerned since he's going to run for re-election, and New York is one of his big bases. What concerns Fury, on the other hand, is what we should worry about. We have no idea what caused the event. Zilch, zero, nada. Remember what the tech said about the sensors?" "Yeah. What's so special about it?" "Nothing was recorded about the event. No spikes in the infrared, UV, or radiation. That just doesn't happen. No phenomenon, artificial or natural, can form this amount of visible light without some byproduct. Even a flashlight produces heat," Coulson explained. "So what is your take on this?" "'Cause my money's on aliens." Barton offered his opinion. "Maybe, but I doubt it. My gut says it's going to be big." "Well, shit. How many times has your gut wrong?" "Not much." "Well, I hope you're wrong." They separate from each other at the corridor's intersection with a sense of foreboding on what is to come. Chapter 3, Not Stealthy Enough. Mojave Desert, California, 2005. A man suddenly in the middle of the desert. "God damn it, Crema. Why didn't you tell me it landed that fucking far? I really hate those long-range Hirashins," Naruto complained. "Well, you didn't ask. At least it's not as bad as that Hirashin gave you made." "That's just a doozy," Crema replied to. "I really like this place. Can we stay here, please?" Shikok said with extreme enthusiasm. "No way, only you can love this place, Sandbrain." Isab countered. "Huh? What did you just say?" "All right. Shut up." Gyuki roared at the two. Naruto looked around and observed where he landed. It looked like he landed in the middle of a desert. The sun is just setting, leaving a beautiful image to behold. There are no structures anywhere in sight, only some mountain ranges on the horizon. He looked down on his feet and saw a small crater only half a foot in diameter. At the center, his Hirashin country. "Thanks, Gyuki. We're not going to stay here, Isab. There's almost nothing here. It might be perfect for a base if we're hiding, but we need information." "Crema, can you figure out where the largest city's near here?" Naruto said. "Look to your left, there's a large city there. It has more people than the whole Land of Fire combined," or Crema said after feeling out for a while. "Let's go there. It's close to the ocean." Isab interrupted. Or, Crema continued, completely ignoring Isab. "You could look to your right and go there. It's significantly closer and smaller." Naruto looked at both directions, thinking of what to do. After some time, he finally created a plan of attack. He reached for the Kepka suppression tag on his neck that burnt out due to the use of Hiroishin. He placed it in one of the storage seals tattooed on his arm. He then created a shadow clone and handed over Hiroishin Kana and a ceiling tag to it. Go to the city to the left. Find some out-of-the-way area in the city and hide the country. Use the tag to siphon a Kepka from me. Create 1,000 shadow clones and collect information there. I'll come over later. Yes, boss. The clone saluted and ran to execute his orders. And don't forget to use henge. Naruto shouted over to the clone. Are you sure that's a great idea? Krema asked. Hey. What's the worst that could happen? Don't jinx his kid. He picked up the kunai on the ground and placed it again in his storage seal. He then ran to the opposite direction of his clone as fast as he can. Edwards Air Force Base, California, March 28, 2005, 1735 H. Local. Edwards Air Force Base is an Air Force installation built in 1933, approximately 35 km of Los Angeles. Throughout the years, it served as one of the military bases used to defend the American Western Seaboard. With the advancement of space exploration and military technology, the Edwards AFB is one of the military bases which has a close working relationship with National Aeronautics and Space Administration or NASA, due to its close proximity with that Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency or DARPA, due to its close proximity with Stark Industries which is one of their partners. Because of the working relationships with these government agencies, several experimental and advanced technologies are housed or controlled in this base. Of the dozens of technology being tested, 2 things would detect one of the first signs of Naruto. The first is an experimental detection system invented by Stark Industries. Laser Diffusion Detection Relay, or simply called LADR, is an advanced detection and mapping system that can be used to accurately guide short-range missiles or help small-scale logistical planning. It uses a short series of prisms and satellite relays to diffuse high and low energy lasers to create a real-time 3D rendition of the environment up to 250 kilometers away. It won't penetrate inside buildings or houses, but it can be used to see people and cars in motion in a surprising amount of detail. Currently, it can't detect colors due to the limited amount of detail the lasers can detect. The amount of data processed by the system would require a supercomputer to process about 200 gigabytes of data a second, which the technology at that time could barely achieve. The second is a group of satellites working in unison to produce high-quality real-time surveillance video or picture. It is called God's Eyes, or Geoorbital Diametric Synchronization Identification and Surveillance. Developed by DARPA with the help of NASA, this was designed to capture surveillance photos of high-value targets for future operations. A total of 8 probe satellites and 1 primary satellite are positioned in a way that all satellites are in geosynchronous orbit within the same plane while maintaining as far a distance with each other as possible. The primary satellite would always be placed in the center of an octagonal plane made by the probe satellites. Each probe satellite is equipped with a high-quality reflection telescope with each centimeter of the mirror capable of minute adjustments to offset the atmosphere's refraction of light. The primary satellite would be the central relay of all the probe satellites and would always be directly overhead the target area. The photo or video produced is a compilation of 9 different camera angles of the same area taken at the same time. This would help the computer create a high-quality 3D model of the area. The quality of the photo or video developed is comparable to shots taken only 5 meters away. The maximum area of capture is 100 kilometers diameter with quality decreasing the further the target is from the center. Technical Sergeant Jonah Hernandez is relaxing in front of his work station, waiting for dinner. He enlisted for the Air Force to achieve his dream of flying around the world while still serving his country as his father, Captain Joaquin Hernandez of the Army. Well, it is currently not flying anything but some paper airplanes in his barracks now and again. But at least he gets to play with the cool new toys developed by the military since he is one of the smarter persons in the base. It is currently the test handler of the ladder system. He sometimes just spies on some random people going about their lives, but now, something more serious has been picked up by the system. That can't be right. Hernandez said to himself while looking at the notification on his screen. It is showing that an approximately 25 centimeters long object traveled at supersonic speeds and crash-landed near the edge of the visible zone. Hey Collins, can you take a look at this for me? Hernandez called Technical Sergeant Elizabeth Collins, the technical operator of the God's system. Walking over to Hernandez's station, he hunched over and looked over the data in the monitor. turning over the rendered map a couple of times and playing back the replay a couple of times. She finally said, "What the hell is that? Is that a rocket?" "No, too small. It's showing it crashed from somewhere east." "I know, I'm looking at it too. Don't give me attitude. You're the one who called me here." Yeah, I'm sorry. But can you use the eye to look at what happened? I know it's over Vegas near the crash site." Apology accepted. "Give me a second." Walking back to her station, she opened the latest data packet she received from the satellite. Scrolling the time bar to the target time and closing upon the area, she watched what happened. "Hernandez, you are going to want to call the general after seeing this," Collins finally said. Hernandez walked over and saw the video playing on the screen. "Fuck. What the hell is that? Where the hell did he come from?" Hernandez reacted. In the video, a three-pronged knife crashed in the desert. 2 seconds after that, a man wearing a jacket appeared on top of the knife. He looked disoriented for a moment. He looked around while talking to someone. He then multiplied out of thin air and handed over another of those weird knives and a piece of paper. The doppelganger then ran at least 250 kilometers per hour towards Law until he was out of satellite range. The original then picked up the knife and ran towards Las Vegas at similar speeds. "I'm going to create a copy of this." "You create a copy of the report you've got from the ladder," Collins finally said after Hernandez is done freaking out. "For what?" Hernandez replied, still a little on edge. "We're going to report this to the general." "Move it, come on. We need to catch him before he leaves." Hernandez nodded in agreement with Collins's suggestion. The two quickly made copies of everything and compiled them in a folder. They both locked their stations and ran towards the door. They left the experimental relay room and biometrically locked it to make sure that the room can't be tampered with. Hernandez looked at the guard posted outside the room and ordered, "Whatever happens, don't let anyone in. We need to bring something to the general." The guard saluted to confirm he received the order. The two then jogged quickly to the administration building and saw the general just walking over to his service car. They ran over to him and saluted. "Technical Sergeant Collins and Hernandez, sir. We're operators for some experimental projects, sir. We have observed some irregularities that need to be brought to your attention, sir," Collins said while extending her hand to pass the folder. They looked nervously to the imposing man before them. Brigadier General Colin the Titan Powell is a 6'1" African-American man renowned for his no-nonsense attitude and his support for injured vets. He has short black hair and wears wire-rimmed glasses. He earned his nickname during the first Gulf War when he was just a captain. He was leading a 15-man unit of Air Force Special Operations Command tasked to take out the land-to-land missiles obtained by Saddam Hussein. The mission was continuing smoothly until it all went fooder during their retreat. 3 members died while the rest of them received various injuries. Only General Collins was lightly injured since he was calling for the extract chopper. He almost single-handedly fought off waves of enemy combatants and defended his unit. He then carried all his unit members, even the dead ones, to the extraction point. 10 members survived the op. He was then called the Titan since he carried all of his units, just like the Titan Atlas. The general stared at the two for a moment before he extended his hand to take the folder. After a few seconds looking over the folder, the general leaned over and knocked on the car window. It rolled down, and the general said with a low voice, "Circle back to the parking. I'll call you in 30 minutes if I need to be picked up." "Yes, sir," the driver said and drove off. Looking over to the two sergeants, the general said, "Follow me." The general turned around and walked back inside the building. Sloan, Nevada, 2005. "Slow down, kid. We're getting close. We don't want to tip our hand too early," Kranma said. "Okay," Naruto replied. "Hey, there's some road over there." He started when he saw it clearing on the horizon. He walked towards the road to make sure he doesn't attract any unwanted attention. After 20 minutes of walking, he finally reached the road. "Whoa, wherever we are, this country sure is rich. Who makes road out of concrete and in the middle of nowhere?" Naruto mused. He then looked over the sign by the side of the street. He stared at it for some time and held his head low. "I can't read it," Naruto said sadly. "Of course you can't read it. We're in another world. We probably won't be able to understand them either," Kranma replied. "The bridges are hundreds of years old. A byproduct of living that long as being able to learn a whole bunch of languages. I think I can make a temporary fix for the speaking thing. Hold on a minute." He then walked over a rock and sat down. He unsealed some ink and paper and drew some intricate design. When he's done, he placed the sealing tag on his nape and activated it. That should cover it for a while. I'll be going to be able to understand them, and when I'm speaking, the tag will convert my words to something they can understand. It even applies a small genjutsu to allow the person to see the corresponding mouth motion for what they would understand. Awesome, right? Naruto explained proudly. Good job. Take it, Cookie. Krema replied, oozing with sarcasm. Naruto pouted because of Krema's reply. We need to reach the city before nightfall. You are going to continue walking. Gyuki said. Roger. After another 30 minutes of walking, a carriage without a horse stopped next to him and made that god-awful sound. He stopped and looked at a sleek-looking carriage, odd by its design. The window opened, and an angelic voice asked, "You need a ride." Chapter 4, First Contact, Las Vegas, Nevada, March 28, 2005, 1900 local, the Black Widow. One of the boogeymen of the world's politicians and elites. There are no missions she couldn't handle. No person she couldn't assassinate, no information she couldn't extract. No mission she wouldn't do for the right price. Originally named Natalia Romanova, she's a 5'7" Russian woman with a face and body to die for. She has red hair and green eyes. Considered the best of Russia's Red Room Black Widow program, a brutal training to create the perfect spies for Russia to use. Graduated in the program in 1999 at the young age of 14, she worked exclusively for Russia's intelligence agency, KGB, until she left and gone AWOL in 2001. She made a name for herself doing work for the highest bidder and having an almost perfect record until S.H.I.E.L.D. took an interest in her a year later. S.H.I.E.L.D. sent their best agent to kill or capture the Black Widow. They sent Agent Clint Barton or Hawkeye. S.H.I.E.L.D. was interested in the possible information the Black Widow may have on one of their high-value targets taken from one of her hits. Barton finally cornered her in Minsk after almost a month of cat-and-mouse chase. When Barton saw her, he recognized something familiar in her eyes. While holding her at arrow point, he asked, "You got a lot of red on your ledger. Want some help cleaning it up?" That's what sealed the deal for the infamous Black Widow. She surrendered to S.H.I.E.L.D. and offered to work for them in exchange for immunity. She went for 6 months of intensive accelerated course for S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and passed with flying colors. Fury considered her as one of the best deals he got. Barton became her go-to partner due to the close working and personal relationship they developed in the past 2 years. She currently only takes her orders from Director Fury himself. She is currently on her way to Las Vegas to relax and unwind. It's one of the perks for being placed so high up in the food chain. You can get vacation time for every top priority mission, although she doesn't do this often. Her latest mission is taking care of a Chinese spy working as an engineer in Stark Industries. The whole mission was a textbook operation except for the high-profile position of the spy inside the company. His sudden disappearance would cause some reaction from the company. She's driving down M-15 in her advance release, and S.H.I.E.L.D. upgraded can exhibit CCX when she saw a man walking just past Jean Sport Aviation Center. She usually would just drive past the guy, but all her instincts are telling her to pull over. She slowed down to a stop beside the guy, rolled down the passenger side window, honked her horn and asked, "You need a ride?" She observed the man as young as herself. Standing at 6'2" with a solid build, he wore a dark orange zip-up hoodie, black shirt, and cargo pants. She saw his piercing trillion eyes, medium-length golden blonde hair with 2 longer strands framing his face, and finally, what might look like his whiskers by his cheek, adding a wild vibe to his whole persona. He's looking awestruck at her car. It's still a little flattering to see someone appreciate a top-of-the-line peak of human engineering. When the man heard her question, he looked a little surprised and looked at her. He thought for a second and said, "Are you talking to me?" "Yes, I'm talking to you. There's nobody else here, right?" She answered in a playful tone. The man scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. Sorry. Sure, I would like a ride if you wouldn't mind. Come on, hop on in." Natasha automatically opened the door. When the man settled in the chair, the door automatically closed, and she drove off. "Thanks for the ride. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, by the way." The man, now known as Naruto, introduced himself. "No problem. I'm Natalie Rockford," Natasha said in response, using one of her aliases. The spy business is a pretty unpredictable profession. Even the smallest of slip-ups can lead to death. It's better to be safe than sorry. Looking over the guy discreetly, she's looking for any sign of deception on his part. You don't get this good being a spy without being able to find out if someone is lying or not. Your parents must really like whirlpools, Natasha said conversationally. Due to her profession, she's fluent in over 20 languages, and one of them is Japanese. Haha. I guess. I never really thought about it like that, Naruto said awkwardly. Trying to change the subject, he asked, where are you going, by the way? Vegas. Trying to see my luck on the slots. How about you? Natasha asked. She's still trying to pick up some information from him. I notice your lack of luggage or even a bag. She added. Yeah, about that. I kind of lost it, including all of my cash. I am hoping to win at least a little big to carry on. Naruto laid out his plan. When she saw the skeptical look on her, he continued. Bad plan. Yes. Stupid plan. Well, I don't know about that. I've always considered myself a little lucky. I mean, look at me, a beautiful woman just picked me up in an awesome car. I thought it only happens in movies. He said the last part in a sincere tone. Haha. Laying it a little thick there, aren't you, Whiskers? But I gotta say, you're not the only guy who went to Vegas to try their luck, but you're the only guy who walked all the way to Vegas to play. Natasha said, genuinely amused. I have no problems walking, but I kinda like this. Traveling in style. Naruto replied, brushing over his new nickname. Naruto then proceeded to look all over inside the car. He paid particular attention to the dash where the clock is. After the perusal of the interior, he asked, so, what do you do for a living? I work for Stark Industries as a public relations manager. I just got off this afternoon. You? Natasha answered, immediately using her cover story. I'm between jobs since I just moved here. I want to leave it all behind. I was a freelance contractor. Doing odd jobs here and there. Nothing special, really. Naruto said, telling that half lie. Being a shinobi really meant being a freelance contractor that can be hired by almost anyone to do almost everything, even as mundane as painting a fence. That answer set off alarms in her mind, but the only outward change visible is a subtle narrowing of her eyes. She used that excuse too many times before to not recognize it. He's not a spy, or at least not an experienced one. No self-respecting would get caught unaware like this. So maybe an assassin. Or maybe an ex-military. I got too little information to know. She thought to herself. MGM Grand Casino, Las Vegas, Nevada, March 28, 2005, 1715 local. It looks like we're here. What's your plan? Natasha asked while stepping off the car and walking to the back to pick up her luggage. Naruto followed her to the back of the vehicle. I don't really know. I might walk around for a while and maybe get lucky and find a chip or cash on the ground. Happened to me before. She took the bag from her trunk and closed it. She then walked over to the valet and then proceeded to move towards the hotel's front of the entrance. Well, good luck to you. I hope we get to see each other again. Same here. Thanks again for the ride. Naruto said, and finally walking away. Natasha then walked to the front desk to book a room. She immediately got one, and after signing in her information, she headed to her room. After checking into a hotel room and sweeping for bugs, a habit she picked up from her work, she took her phone from her bag and turned on its encryption feature. She then called Fury. Hello, Romanoff. How's your vacation? Fury greeted in a gruff voice. All is well, boss. I'm in Vegas right now, going to play some craps for a week, Natasha said. But that's not why I called. I need someone checked through the system. Okay. What's the name, and why should I run him or her? Fury asked with a touch of curiosity. Natasha's phone has access to its database. The only explanation she would let him run the check is if there is something about the person he needs to know about. Him. The name's Naruto Uzumaki. 6'4", blonde hair, blue eyes, possibly Japanese ancestry due to his name, Natasha described. Picked him up near Sloan on my way to Vegas, walking by the side of the road. Oh, by the way, he has whiskers. She continued. On the other side of the line, Fury's inputting the details on his computer when he suddenly paused and said, Excuse me. Whiskers. Yes, whiskers. Natasha said in a deadpan tone. Don't tell me you're making me search for him because of whiskers. Fury said in a tone of disbelief. Come off it, boss. I'm asking you to run him since he's walking by the side of the road with nothing but the clothes on his back. Didn't even look a little sweaty or fatigued, considering where I found him. He must have been walking for hours. So, maybe he's from the military. No, too young. He looked like my age. Late teens, early 20s. He also said he was a freelance contractor who just moved to the US to leave it all behind. That's what caused me to be wary of him. That should be easier. If he moved here, he should have a record somewhere. Fury was saying when he heard the computer ping. On the screen, it says no match found. Romanoff, there's no match anywhere in the system. Maybe he used an alias. Fuck, Natasha said under her breath. I'll send over my car's interior camera feed. Can you match the face? I just got a feeling about him. Natasha said, hoping to find something about the guy. I'll see what would come up. You're really hung up on him, huh? Fury said with a teasing tone. Oh, and by the way, don't fly to DC. Head straight to New York. Your team would meet you there. Team. I rarely operate with a team, especially on local soil. It's not that kind of op. You'll lead the relief team sent to New York to investigate an 083 event that happened in Central Park. POTUS is writing my ass about it since it happened. I'll send you the details. Roger. Don't cut your vacation. Coulson and Barton are on site. Relax for now. Thanks, boss. Good night. Romanoff said, then hang up the phone. She remotely downloaded the video from her card and sent it to Fury. Who the hell are you? Natasha mused to herself, and then she went to bed. Las Vegas, Nevada, March 28, 2005, 1730 local, a coup. Ooh. Somebody's thinking about you. Maybe it's a nice girl you met. Jamae teased. Don't get started again on that, Jamae, and next time don't start shouting and interjecting the whole time when I'm talking to someone. Confuses the hell out of me. Naruto complained. Sorry. But you got to admit she's one beautiful woman. Well, at least for a human. I will dignify that with a response. Naruto answered with a grin, remembering the woman who helped him. It looks like he picked up some things from his godfather. You know she's lying, right? Krema asked. Oh yeah, big time. The only truth she said is how she was going to relax here. So, what are we gonna do? Gyuki asked. Naruto looked around while walking down the sidewalk. Looking left and right, up and down, he took in his surroundings. Huge buildings in all shapes and sizes. Bright lights everywhere. People. Lots of them. He guessed it's normal in this world's cities. It's like tens of get multiplied by 100 and placed in soon. What really catches his eyes are the women. Scantily clad, exotic, and beautiful. Hiro-sensei would definitely feel like he died and went to heaven. We need cash. Any ideas on how to get it? We can pick the pocket of someone. Kakuo said. Underground fight. I saw some posters of fights. If they're legitimate ones, they're sure to be underground ones. Some Goku added with excitement. Or you can turn back and play at the casino. See if Lady Luck loved you so much she followed you across universes. Krema suggested. All good points, but we need money for the last two. Underground fights would need an entry fee, and casinos like the one we came from have high buy-in. We're going to do all three in that order to get big money. Naruto decided. He walked down a secluded alleyway, looked around to check for people, and made 20 shadow clones, all hemmed in disguises. You guys spread out and gather information. Find underground fights with high prize money and one of those guys that can make a fake identity. The more expensive it is, the better. We might need one of those. Dispel when you find one. He ordered the clones. The clones nutted shined away. He then created another 20 clones and ordered, you guys pick the pocket of anyone who might look like a rich guy you come across. Just get the cash, then return the wallet from where you took it. We'll meet back here in 1.5 hours. The clones then separated to find marks. Naruto learned to pickpocket since he was a kid. His harsh living conditions due to the hatred of his village resulted in him learning how to do it just to stay alive. Getting punched, choked, or stabbed when he gets caught certainly made for a powerful motivator. Walking out of the alleyway, he just continued his stroll down the sidewalk and just enjoying the view. Chapter 5. The Fall of the Whirlpools, Las Vegas, Nevada, March 28, 2005, 2100 local. Alright, how much we got? Naruto said to his clones when he came to meet all the clones tasked with picking pockets. We know you'd ask us that, boss, so we found out how much it is since we don't even know what each of the papers is worth. A clone then dispelled to send the information to the original. The memories of the clone rushed into his mind. He saw he successfully picked 42 marks in 1.5 hours. It also showed 7 denominations of the paper money with its respective appearance called dollars. 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100. He also got the memory of the basic number system, which is exactly like what his old world used except for the symbols for numbers. Good job, guys, but you may have gone a little overboard if the clone that just dispelled is any indication. So how much was our haul? $221,456. A clone said with a touch of giddiness. I still don't know how much that is. Naruto said with a blank look. We found a store that sells instant ramen. Everyone got a dreamy look on their face, imagining the food of the gods. And the cheapest sell them at around $1 after taxes. Well, based on that, we have approximately 2's class mission pay with us. We're rich. Every clone just nodded vigorously with a smile. Wait, what do you mean after taxes? He suddenly asked, noticing the weird wording used by his clone. Well, from what we gathered, stores just place the base price and add tax when ringing up the purchase. The weird thing is, it's different in different parts of the country. This country is divided into 50 smaller protectorates called states, and each of them has a different tax rate. Ugh, they just had to make it really hard. Sheesh. Okay, guys, great work. The clones one by one handed over the cash and dispelled. He placed a $1,000 of random bills in his pocket and sealed the rest for later use. That's a lot of money, kid. We can finally go to stage 2. When are we going to fight? Krema asked, vibrating with excitement. Well, 3 of the scouting clones already dispelled. The best one with big money is somewhere north of here in an abandoned warehouse. It looks like a lot of high rollers and VIPs are there, which means a lot of money. Naruto said, remembering the memories of the 3 clones that dispelled. The 17 remaining clones are just now looking for a fixture for fake identification. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go. Krema urged. Wait a minute. You might kill those guys accidentally. Everyone in this world only has enough Kepker to keep them alive. Our civilians are tougher than the civilians of this world. Saban said. Might I suggest upping your gravity seals and maximizing the resistance seals? Those would up you from 200 times gravity to 500 times and from resistance level 8 to resistance level 10. Metatobie suggested. Not a bad idea. Wait a minute. Naruto said while adjusting the seals. He reminisced on how he got those seals, including his storage seal. Flashbacks start when he decided to remove the bijou from the clutches of the hidden villages. He knew he needed to be a seal master just like his parents. He started learning from the only other seal master he knew, his godfather, Jorai of the Sannin. After he exhausted all of the knowledge available to his godfather, he prepared for a journey to the land of the master of the seals, Zushigaku. Zushigaku were the village hidden in the whirlpools was the home village of his mother. It was also known as the village of longevity due to the long lifespans of the Uzumaki. The village without the country was located between fire and water country. The village became known for its seal masters, attributed to Uzumaki's natural talent for building up and breaking down seals. Kirigaku, Iwagaku, and Kamagaku were felt threatened by Zushigaku's rise to power. They created an alliance of 1,2,0,0,0 troops which consists of 40,000 shinobis, 70,000 soldiers and conscripts, and 10,000 samurais. The last 2 were lent by their armies with the promise of overwhelming victory and massive spoils. Unfortunately for the alliance, they forgot one tenet of being a shinobi. Never fight a seal master on their own terms. Zushigaku has a population of 15,000. 10,000 of which are combat ready with another 2,000 studying a retired shinobi. Of the total 12,000 available forces, 8,000 of them are seal adepts. 1,000 of which are seal masters. When the alliance came on thousands of ships and pushed through Sushigaku's infamous whirlpools, they were expecting the people to tremble in fear and surrender. What they didn't expect is an instant attack the moment they saw the walls. Even against overwhelming odds, the Uzumakis never wavered. They employed all the tricks to hold off the invading forces. They used suicide seal bombs, space-time traps, multi-elemental juts, and all the other tricks. 3 days and 2 nights, they hold off the enemy forces, expecting their sister village, Kanoda, would come to their rescue. But alas, they can't hold of destiny. Their time has come. In a final act of spite, they collected all their possessions. Metal, precious gems, relics, books, and scrolls. All of which are sealed in a single sealing scroll, only to be opened by a mainline Uzumaki. The scroll was then placed inside the country's strongest sealing vault. When all the people able to escape and all their valuables sealed, the remaining 1,000 shinobi sacrificed their lives to fuel a powerful summoning jutsu. They summoned the Death God. Exchange for the lives of 1,000 Uzumaki blood, the Death God would reap the souls of 50,000 enemies, bringing them with him forever in the Death God's stomach to suffer for eternity. When the battle ended, only 3,000 of the 1,2,0,0,0 invading forces remained. Tired and demoralized, they entered the ruined city, expecting some form of loot. What they found were dust and ashes. Scouring the city only yielded them broken furniture, destroyed seals, and leftover home items. The security on the vault located in the depths of the city was unbreakable. Even the path to the vault is heavily tracked, resulting in casualties. By the time they left the city, only 2,800 forces were left. The plan to attack Konoha with the 40,000 shinobis used to attack Zushigaku was now an impossible dream. When Konoha's advance guard arrived the afternoon of the third day, they only saw the sails of the retreating enemy forces on the horizon. Entering the city with a heavy heart, they saw broken buildings, empty homes, and thousands of bodies. They saw the Hitachi Kiri, Iwa, and Kama. They buried every civilian and shinobi of who they could find and erected a monument in their honor. They returned to Konoha to inform the Hokage of the failure. As a tribute and a remembrance of their greatest failure, a red Uzumaki swirl is placed on all Konoha flag jackets. Naruto arrived on Zushigaku. He explored the city and found the memorial stone set by Konoha shinobi when they buried the dead. He paid his respects and explored further, hoping to find something he can use as a relic of his ancestors. He then found a tunnel heading deep under the city. The seals recognized his Uzumaki blood and turned off the traps. He reached a vast ceiling array at the end of the path. Recognizing an identification array at the left side of the wall, he bit his thumb and pumped Kepker to the array. A bright light spread across the whole room, temporarily blinding him. When the light died down, a single 6-foot ceiling scroll was in front of the wall. He walked over to the scroll and reaching it with tears of joy in his eyes. When his fingers touched the scroll, his tears of joy became tears of pain. He felt his skin being cut over and over again. When the pain ended, he immediately opened his jacket and shocked by what he saw. Sealing array spread throughout his body, he barely recognized it as a complicated storage seal array. A huge bulk of information assaulted his brains. He recognized the relics, books, and fortune of the Uzumaki clan. With a renewed vigor, he studied all the scrolls and books using shadow clones. Tested thousands of seals. Failure after failure. Success after success. He took a year to learn everything, even with a veritable army of shadow clones. One of the first seals he placed on his body is an upgraded gravity seal. It can increase the gravity felt by the body, but the seal would also counter the downward force outside of the body, making the body have the same weight. Even if the seal were set to 1,000, you wouldn't fall through the floor. The resistance seal, on the other hand, would counter all the motions made by the body with an opposite force. Level 1 would be felt similar to walking through water, while level 10 would be equivalent to walking through metal. The best thing about both seals was that it's semi-autonomous. It will automatically raise the level of both seals when a certain level of mobility is achieved. Of course, the parameters can be changed manually. Flashback and OK. I'm ready. Now. I haven't moved this slow since I returned to Konoha after the training trip. Naruto mused while performing some simple calisthenics. Come on. We haven't seen any action since you started working on that Hiroshima gate. Krama complained. You do realize I would not use much Kekra, if any, for some underground fight. Naruto said, pointing out the fact that Krama would not be able to do anything while walking towards the direction where his clone came from. Yeah. I just want to see some fight. Ignore him, Naruto. Remember, theatrics. It will win you over more money. If there's anything I learned from B, the money will come easier with a little theatrics. Gyuki advised. After 10 minutes of walking and idle chatter between the Bujo and him, he finally reached the warehouse where the fight is happening according to the memory he received from his clone. Walking to the back of the entrance, he knocked on a nondescript wall. A new house light open, and a guy asked with a large gravelly voice, a little dark out, huh? Recognizing a prompt, he recalled the memory for the prompt key. Yeah. Good thing, I just changed the bulb. The eye hole closed and a clicking sound was heard from the other side. The wall sunk back and slipped to the side. Two massive guys greeted him. One dark-skinned and the other light-skinned. Both were bald and wearing a suit. Come on. The dark-skinned guard ordered. Naruto went in and is greeted by a long narrow brick hallway that ends with an intersection. The light-skinned guard closed the door and said, stand over to the wall facing it. The guard then walked towards him and patted him down for weapons. Guess you're a fighter. Fighter. Naruto said in a confident tone. When the guard finished checking him for weapons, he said, walk to the end of the hall and turn right.